in 3 words. The best stories.
What are stories of the best things going on right now?
The best stories
are authentic.
They are relevant.
thought-provoking.
Emotional is probably the first one.
The best stories are humorous,
shareable.
They
I think
are
emotional.
entertaining.
They're unique.
I would say
relevant.
inspiring,
Honest.
real
Colorful,
stories that are from today.
and
they're emotional.
Those are some of the best stories.
What's going on, everybody? This is Nathan Peterson coming to you live from SiriusXM Studio at the Wynn in Las Vegas. I'm here with my esteemed colleague and good friend, Mr. Stefan Richardson from Riot Games. Steph, what's going on?
Hey, so first of all, thank you for having me.
This is
I'm a huge fan of this series. Like, as a rank amateur storyteller in like my business, like I love getting a chance just to come on and listen to all the great guests that you guys always have in
You're
here.
a 3-timer now, right?
Yeah, I think I'm a 3-timer. I'll come back every year that you are willing to have me on the show when I don't break something. But you know, it's one of my favorite programs just because anybody in the media business, that's why we're in it, right? Is to tell stories and to make people care and to. I have this theory about, like, you know, human existence. We learn from other people's stories all the time, right? Yep. So it's such a great way to like just get everybody together and hang out. So thank you for having me.
Hey, well, the funny part is that this is our first time doing this, and like the stories that have been told between us.
Which ones are we allowed to tell in the show? That's what I want to know.
You know, it's been really, honestly, amazing getting to know you and everything that you do in this industry. And I consider you a good friend and colleague in the space and creative collaborator.
Thank you, Nate. I appreciate
the coolest cowboy I've ever met. I had no idea you're a cowboy. I learn like new things about this guy every day.
I'm the ultimate LA cowboy, right? Like, not a real cowboy. Like, grew up in a real cow town, Calgary, but like, when you move to Los Angeles, now all you need is a decent hat and a belt buckle, and you're automatically a cowboy, even if you've never ridden a horse. So.
I mean, I thought you were joking the first, like, he sends me a note and says, hey, I think I was in town for, what was it, NBA, was it the tourney? It was an in-season tourney.
It was the in-season tournament.
And he's like, oh, I'm in town too. Come to this country bar. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I love country music. Why are you, what are you here for? He's like, the rodeo. I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't know there was a rodeo in town. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm like, are you a cowboy? He's like, yeah, I'm a huge cowboy. And then I show up to this country bar and you are like decked out. I'd never seen that before.
I know. Shout out to Las Vegas and the NFR. Anybody who's never been the first weekend in December, the second week in December. Greatest indoor show on turf, like not the LA Rams style, but like if you're in for the cowboy time, it's a really good time to be in Vegas and hang out. And shout out to TI for hosting us. It's always good fun.
That was great. And I went back a second year in a row this last year because it was so much fun. Man, there's so much. Last night was insane. I mean, like, think about the table we were sitting at last night. Bohan, Jamie was there, for Jamie Kiley from Bleacher Report.
Yep.
Our guy Tom.
Yep.
We told some of the craziest stories probably ever told at a dinner table, most of which probably can't totally be repeated, but it was like we just went around the horn talking about celebrity stories and sightings, and I don't even know which one was the best, but it was
which ones we could actually do, from getting kicked off of like Hollywood movie sets to
I like
to saving Hollywood movie stars in the middle of something, which is something we can't talk about. But yeah, that was a really enjoyable because all of the people at that table were great storytellers.
They were great storytellers and great people. I think I give Bo the winning token for getting kissed by Uma Thurman.
That
was so funny.
It's really hard to beat that. So congratulations, Bo. You get we need a trophy. Like best NAB story told in a not public environment should be like a small trophy.
Yeah, and caveat, he's a fully married man. This was way long ago at the very early stages of
Apologies to Bo's wife. Yeah, this was before you.
Oh man, that was a really fun time. It's one of the things I love the most about this industry is that, like, we are around just some of the most creative people that have done so many different things, and we get to learn from each other.
Yeah. It's the whole point, right? Like, we're not in it for any other reason to be like, holy cow. Like, my favorite saying, and I teach my team at Riot this all the time, is no risk, no story, right? Yeah. I'm like the rogue agent inside Riot Games, but that's where the best stuff comes from. You have to be willing to like find where that edge is, and sometimes you're over it a little bit, and then you can pull it back. But if you never make the attempt or find out where that edge is and how far can you push something, you never end up with a story worth telling or learning from within that space. So
Well, and it manifests in so many different ways. And like I take a lot of pride in, our clients and the people that we work with, but even more so when they become friends like you are to me. And man, that was like the coolest moment in the world when you hit me up and you're like, dude, I got written up in Rolling Stone. I was like, no fucking way. Are you serious? Tell me about it. How did it happen?
You know what? Now, I will say this. That's something that you can only do with your good friends, because it really looks like a homer if like you send this to anybody else.
No, you need to send all these things to me.
No, that went out to maybe like 3 or 4 people, but you were one of them because I knew you would understand, and you would care. And as my friend, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we've had the great privilege at Riot of telling a bunch of really good stories about our players for a really long time. One of the big challenges in esports is the fact that you're not necessarily dealing with the Michael Jordans or the Wayne Gretzkys or the Gary Paytons of the world, where like most people know who they are, right? Like for our players, the main job of my team is making people care, and not just making fans of League of Legends or esports care. People that don't know anything about what Riot Games does, can we make them care about the fakers of the world? Like who is this kid? Why is he important? What's going on? So I was very, very fortunate to join a team that had already done really, really good work. Shout out to Jeff Holsey and the squad. Before I got to Riot Games, they had an established way of doing things, and they did a really great job with it. And then referencing what we were just talking about, we pushed it all the way to the edge of the cliff to be like, hey, can we outduel Hollywood trailers? Can we put this on par with what the NBA does? Can we make trailers that are the caliber of like the NCAA one moment in time that they do every single year? Got some really great production partners, Tagboard being one of them. Put some teams together, and over the last 4 years, I think we've done some really, really good work. And it got to the point where like Rolling Stone's like, hey, can we come out and shadow you guys during the League of Legends World's Championship in 24 in London? It's like, you so you can hang out with our team, and they did a really nice job, and I didn't really tell them about it, and I was like, somebody just sent me a Rolling Stone article, and I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm not going to tell you about that one, but like I said, we're really lucky on the team to work with this for a really long time, and to a space where people really care. My favorite part of this is I was doing the when we were there, and the opening tease, one of these pieces like I was talking about, the opening ceremony, a huge musical number like I always do. We're rolling praise to everybody, and we're trying to the tease, bring it right down to quiet, and like here's hearts, here's the topic, here's where but first things in to this story, we had work on like together a week. Most of us like 36 hours, and the guy when he starts talking, you know, like you're trying to watch it, and somebody I even want to run, that I just follow this person. I didn't turn into anything. I for our words with touches of my arm, like you're moving around, to look to death in the eyes. Seriously, would you please be quiet? I'm trying to listen to this story. That's you know. Something that like, people care on their space, and nobody's thousands of videos that were there that didn't know esports, that people most of us didn't care who was saying. Until you watch the videos being created, and after that, I had a vested interest in who was the championship, and that's the whole thing.
So much that form is taken off. Again, right now, I'm Netflix. Like all my favorite series, I watch are all like more interviews, like full swing. Like I didn't start watching until the pandemic, and still I didn't have the chosen player choice until I was swing, and I was like, oh, I really like know these folks. Like, being that, like,
like trying to hit all the boxes for at
Yeah.
Riot Games. Like, why are you telling the story? Like, intentionality. There has to be a real good reason. Like, we think somebody's going to care about this. Context, like how that story fits in with the rest of the stories that you're telling, is super important. People need to understand the landscape that they're working within, and then connection is like, where's the human element? Why do I care? What's the space? Now, doing connection well is the hardest part about storytelling, because you could just like put some things down on a page and it doesn't matter. But like when you put your sound design into it, with the soundtrack that's behind it, with a great cinematographer and DP, shout out to the Good Boy crew in Los Angeles, because you guys are amazing at this thing. Then you get to a space where people don't even realize they're invested. And that's what Drive to Survive has done. That's what we're trying to do at Riot Games. That's where Tagboard helps us, like by being able to like be nimble and be in those spaces with us all the time.
Nimble visualizations.
Exactly. It's like we need to change something last second, or we need to move something around. We always know that we can come up with the graphics that we need to produce something that's gonna be a part of that story. And if you can check all three of those boxes, there's a good bet that even somebody that doesn't give a damn about what you were doing beforehand now cares about the thing that you put on the screen, and that's what matters.
I love it. It's truly, it's an inspiration, and I'm I feel like I can just learn from you for hours, and I love that. Like that's
high praise, my friend. But that's why I like hanging out with you too. Teach me something I don't know, right?
I'm a creative at heart, if it's not obvious, right? For the podcast listeners, he was referencing my Gary Payton shirt that I got on today, in reference to my Seattle roots, and starting with the Seattle Sonics back in the day. So hopefully we get that team back sometime soon.
It's coming. It's coming. I have faith.
Seattle's the best basketball town out there, right?
It has to happen. So.
Yeah. And I'm actually excited. We'll getting you, trying as hard as I can to get you in front of a couple of the Super Bowl champions and Seahawks when you come to Seattle here soon. Because Sky, a shout out to our EP of Storyteller, Mr. Sky.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah.
We collaborate on a creative event that raises money for charities in Seattle, and Doug Baldwin, Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett, created Champions of
Those
Change.
guys were okay.
Yeah, they're okay. They're just but to have the opportunity to work with athletes like that, and I and what they're doing for our community, like when I saw your remote facility, I was like, okay, we need to get them in here because they want to do like pickleball. I was like, and I want to get Steph on.
Don't tell
this,
the safety people. Exactly.
Right?
What Nate is referencing is Riot has it's called the RBC, brought to you by AWS, or powered by AWS, where we've created the Remote Broadcast Center is what RBC stands for, and we are taking signals from all over the planet, running through a facility in Dublin, one Seattle, and it's something that I've never been in the world. But Games for Change is a great way to reference every part of this, right? Those guys are using their origin stories to then affect other people's stories in that space, and creating a better life through the stories that we're talking about, or like the charities that they're supporting those different spaces. That is the most important stuff. This is like actionable storytelling, right? Like taking it to those different places, and this is something we're trying to do with the RBC site. It's like, hey, we go to great partners like AWS, like we want to fire signals from around the planet in a single location. Do remote broadcasts, which is something about COVID. We want to do it in a way where we're running through forward at the same time. Shout out to Alice and I both together up there in Dublin, and probably you're all doing. But like running through four at a time can be different shows, can be different Riot shows, can be different anything within the spaces. We're finding a facility that has the firepower to just be like, oh, you want to put the camera in Sao Paulo and send your signals up here, and we'll do a show up here for you wherever you go, whether it's terrestrial broadcast, whether it's socials, whether there's networks, and again, not the integrity, but that's where I'm at, right? Like we're doing these shows, but we gotta have have the
Sky put that
flexibility,
up.
right, to like bring in all the social media, all of the pieces that we want, all the opportunities to QR code things and sell things to people, so we can raise money for stuff.
Right.
You know?
And that was where I'm excited too about the the potential to collaborate with people on different types of formats, and like where our creative minds can meet with the technology to say like is there an opportunity? I mean, our vision's always been to democratize production, right. And we've tackled the graphic side of it, I'd say arguably pretty damn well.
Yeah, pretty decently.
But we want to enable more show formats and more types of areas to create that are owned and not just on the social platforms, but additive at that professional level. The convergence of the creator into the major media brand is happening fast.
Well, and it's got to be efficient, right? It's got to be autonomic. It's got to be automatic, right? We need to, and this is what the Riot saying is, meet players where they are. And we're talking about the players of our games in those spaces. But I would argue that easily expands into meet anyone where they happen to be. And it's, the competition is fierce. That's why you have to be efficient. You have to be able to do all those different formats. I don't consider Riot Games, even though it's like a gaming entity, to be in competition with other gaming entities out there. Like shout out to like Epic Games crew and Fortnite and the CSGOs of the world. They all do really great products as well. We're not just competing against them. We're competing for eyeballs against every major sport, every major entertainment outlet, every major show on all those, like, because people have a choice on where to spend their time, right? So you really have to have the vision of like, what is going to cut through? How do you make it really easy for people to find your stuff? And if you're just, broadcasting a single source in 1920 by 1080 and it's standard within those different spaces, you're missing most of the market at this point in time, right? You need to be able to like flip your signals into not just a crushed down version of vertical format stuff. You need custom feeds into those spaces. You need instantaneous delivery to people. You need to make it so they can roll over in bed and see your content on their phone at that point in time, and effectively, right? Because we're up against everything in those spaces. Yeah.
Well, and and hitting at the core of like what matters to people, you touched on that massively earlier when we were talking about the core principles of how you even produce talent, right? Speaking of I got some news, tweeted to me somewhere that you got another trophy potential, little nomination.
That was today. Not sure when this is going to air, but the danger of selling us out for
this new show with people that follow it.
Exactly. So this was last year's Sports Movie Awards in New York City. So thanks for my good stuff. That was good too. I really like that one. But today, the 2024 nominations were announced by the Emmys in New York City, and honored again. Riot Games has got a chance to like win a couple more awards. So, I just usually just post this one, right? Because it's so many people. There are hundreds of people that go into producing those levels of shows. You're talking about doing something in the O2 Arena with 20,000 people there, and Linkin Park's doing your opening ceremony. And like, that's so cool. To be honest, Nate, like on most shows, I feel like I have a handle on it, and I could like handle anything that comes. The shows that get put up for these awards, I have a distinct feeling of helplessness. They're so big and there's so much going on. You just have to have faith that your team can handle pieces that they're supposed to handle. Which is why I always felt this is never about the first thing I was trying to share with everybody. There's nothing I can do. Right? You just have to count on your team, handle their lane, and there's so many lanes. Director, step up, and just how
running Tagboard, and Tagboard would not be anywhere close to what it is today without every single person on our team. I always say I'm like least important person in the company.
Right? They're like, you did this thing, and I'm like, the hell I did. I didn't do any part of this, right? I just gave the team a chance to like go and show off how talented they are, and that comes to, you get this, like from like all the companies that you've run and all the positions that you've had in before. It's about your people, right? That's why hiring is so important. That's why training is so important. That's why being a great manager and inspiring your team is so important, because at the end of the day, they're the people that are going to like pull this off or not pull it off for you, depending on what you're doing.
Absolutely. I couldn't be more proud of my team. This week has been incredible. Obviously, I always love what we do at SiriusXM, but got to give mad props to Christine Chalk, who took on a huge, our chief product officer, took on this huge monumental task to help AWS produce an F1 esports show. Yeah. And you know this all too well.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job. I walked into West Hall yesterday to check it out. I was like, there are people racing, and then they immediately have a show going afterwards. I'm like, you better be careful. I'll steal Christine and everyone else.
Yeah, don't say that. She's probably pretty pissed at me right now for how much effort this has been. But she has absolutely crushed it as both the EP, but like, I talked to her last night for a little bit and said, like, you are front and center disrupting a space. Like there's people that are pissed off that we are the graphics provider, but
you're doing the show. Like, I want to make that clear. And to make the jump from being the graphics provider to being the production company is not a small jump.
No, well, and we're doing both, right? So we're the full graphics. Christine's a 3-time Emmy award-winning producer. There's, she's excellent. So that's kind of second nature. No, you can't have her. It's not. No, but it's just when you go down there and experience it, it's phenomenal. I mean, we're doing all the live data, all the interactivity, and it was so well produced. Thank you to AWS for trusting in us, and Simone and Gregoire, and shout out to all
legends.
I mean, we're doing something massive this year that mirrors how big we've gone with this studio for the last, I think, 3 years now, and like there's nothing I love more than walking into SiriusXM and doing this.
It's a great show. Thanks for having us.
And working with Brian and Jeremiah and the best guys out there that have helped us turn this into just a regular, right? But man, this is a big ass year for us at NAB, and I think we blew it out of the water.
You certainly pulled it off. The line was too big. I haven't been able to race over there yet. I'm hoping, like, do you have any kind of after hours connections?
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, let's go after. I've got a few more meetings to take, and then maybe we'll go over there and race. We'll get you and me, and Julie Souza owes me a race too from AWS. We'll grab her, and maybe get one other person. We'll go.
Nice.
Are you? I mean, I'm
terrible. But yeah. I'm not going to put any money down on this, but we'll certainly keep attempting it.
I'm the worst video game player you've ever met.
Okay,
and
great. Me too.
I'm very bad with my thumbs, and I don't know why.
Well, hey,
it just does't. It's never equated. So like, I grew up just playing Madden on like easy mode. I was like, I don't, and then my friends would just kick my ass in college, and
oh man,
but
you're a great storyteller, Nate. So like, hey, like, let's talk about the things that you do well.
Video games are not my thing, but I'm excited to try it in a sim though, because like I've become pretty obsessed with like the F1
driving,
everything. So I'm excited.
It's gonna be like a Tom Cruise moment. What is he like? He's like, "What's your experience?" And he's like, "Well, I've watched it on TV. The coverage is excellent." It's like that's gonna be our level of like racing. So shout out to Days of Thunder, everybody that grew up in the '90s like I did. So
I stopped by and saw I sat with Christine and Kristen Rogers, who's a former teammate of ours that jumped in to do some of the commentary for us. I'm thankful for her. I sat down with them this morning to talk over a few things, and I'm watching these replays, and like all 4 fucking cars just right into the wall. And I'm like,
that's going to be us.
I have to be able to do better than that. I have to be able to do better than that.
Speaking of disasters, I think you guys brought the bingo card, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move us along to the bingo card because we're gonna race later.
Yes.
Okay, so this is we've never really shared this out with like anybody before. So Riot internal teams, don't get mad at me. I blacked out a couple of things in here that I didn't think were
appropriate
for consumption, but we do. And you're a production person, so like whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and there'll be things that you can't absolutely fathom that could ever go wrong. Will absolutely go wrong. Some people, other people just think they're good because they can look that right in the eye and be like, okay. Like the panic doesn't register you fast panic right into the other. So it was kind of like you bring this along and share some things that we run into Riot before on the production side. These are all true things that have happened especially Riot in the last 5 years that literally either came close to stopping production or we didn't know how we're going to run. We called nothing hits us.
see a shark eat fiber undersea. The actual.
So the great about Remy production is you can do it from anywhere. Yeah. The bad part about Remy production is you're very reliant on the Tops of the world, the Riot Broadcast of the world, the AWS of the world, the Cisco's of the world, to make sure that you're signal from one place to the other. Okay. And all kinds of things can happen to that. So we were so we did account of sharks about maybe once last show because like, hey, I can shark group Miami, that's understandable. But like I'm sitting there watching a screen start to play because I lost on the signal, like broadcast it loses again, and I'm like, I'm not one of the engineers that are like, no, man, like that. They're like, we have no idea what happens. Turns out a shark ate a transatlantic cable in the middle of the show. Like, I don't even verify that. I went down, there's my bite marks. I was like, okay, so shark cables is like one of my favorites. Ship stuck in Alice, also one of my all-time favorites. You remember, it was a couple years ago, there was a ship that got run around in the Suez Canal. Yeah. Our gaming desks were on that boat. So we were like 2 weeks. These things are like, you just don't whip them together, right? Travel them. That's how hard to be able to like make sure the right players get what they need in the games. Got a call. Like, hey, are you seeing the CNN story of the ship stuck in the canal? Yes. And that's relevant because our desks are on it. And you're just like, what do you mean desks are on it? The one ship that's stuck in the Suez Canal has already desks on it. So like, okay, emergency carpentry ability views. This is that one's great. I should probably clarify.
Sniffing dog party.
Was like, I couldn't let any incident yet because the bomb sniffing dog didn't happen. So with thousands of people at the stadium ready to come in, and we're just like, yep, that's not going to happen.
I have an idea for you. We need to turn these into t-shirts. It'll be a production t-shirt line. Yep. And like, we're just going to put it online for sale and just like let anybody and maybe like people submit the shit that's happened to them too.
Oh my God, it's the best. So baseball team made the playoffs to make the sports card. This was 2023 World in Korea or in Bushak Skydome. And if the local team makes the playoffs, it torpedoes our production schedule because then we can't have it. So we were all sitting there watching really in the middle of the night and like, okay, we don't want to cheer against them, but this team needs to lose tonight, or we're completely torpedoed for Worlds. I need to clarify child labor laws because it's a wild one up there. Sometimes our players aren't necessarily 18.
Yeah.
The laws are different in every country, and we're like, if the show doesn't end by 10, it's going to get shut down because the players have a curfew that they need to make in the local municipality that's there. So I'm, as a producer, watching the clock being like,
yeah,
this segment's cut. This segment's cut. King Coronation. It's our lovely new king. They're like, so in the UK for Worlds last year, we're like, what do you mean the streets are blocked for the King's Coronation? We're like, okay, that's a great one. Civil unrest. I mean, that happens almost everywhere. Like we go within those different areas, and then we can finish with like Beyonce's stage broke. Our people were working on. We hire production companies all over the world for these. They were working on Beyonce's stage at the same time, and there were a bunch of pieces from it that we were using, had it, broke. They're like, hey, the whole stage that you were going to chuck in here next week, it's trashed because,
oh no,
because it's down. So yeah,
that is amazing. I think we're gonna have to continue this over whatever dinner we inevitably end up going to tonight, and then I think we're hitting AWS band night or something like that. Never done that one before. I've never done that one before. I think
I'm sure they put on a great show.
I've heard it's fun. I guess I get like industry folks to come in and like play.
Oh wow! What a big music fan I am.
Right?
So
I know I am too.
Anywhere, yeah.
I'm like maybe let us up on stage one of these days. Not with this voice.
That'd be the worst show we could possibly put on. So
what if we bring your daughter? I mean,
she can really sing. Yeah, that's different. Like one day we'll be good enough, but right now she's the only family member that can really belt. So
my oldest son thinks he can sing.
Oh wow, that's like me.
Headphones and belt things out, and it is.
You tried lessons yet?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. My wife knows. I think he's gonna be able to sing. My wife can sing. I can decently sing. Not when I sound like a Vegas me, but let's end it on that note. I know we got a lot going on. We got, you've got meetings back to back, but man, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate, your partnership, your friendship, everything that we do together in this industry. And thank you very much for joining us the third time on Storyteller.
Honestly, Nate, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me back. I really appreciate the opportunity to continue to get the opportunity to do what we do, which is tell great stories for not just like storytellers, but like just like everything that we try and do for people. Like I said, I'm a firm believer it's how we learn, how we grow, how humankind advances is by learning. We're not the first people to do any of these things. We will never be. Like it's like somebody has learned this lesson already, and it's just up to us to make sure that we pull those lessons and teach them to other people.
Well, you are elite at it, my friend. Thank you. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. Until next time.